Good evening, everyone. I'm Ananya Jain and I'll be your anchor for today. This webinar will help you get more friendly with user interface and user experience. Are you all excited? Well, let's get started. Sudan's Tech welcomes all of you for this wonderful webinar. We really appreciate you taking some time off of your busy schedule to attend this and learn something exciting and new. Well, let's continue the spirit throughout the webinar and for the upcoming ones as well. Today's talk is basically an introduction on user interface and user experience with none other than Miss Marian Villa Roldan. Miss Marian is an expert on user interface and user experience. She is also part of the Royal Academy of Engineering, UK. Without further ado, Sudan Tech welcomes Maria William Rodan. The stage is all yours.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm really excited to be here. And a big hola, hello to all our audience. I'm Marian Villa. I'm from a far away country from you, Colombia, but we are globally connected now. So yeah, one single place to humanity right now. So I'm really excited to connect with both uh, both countries to create this match and alliance and share like a purpose. We already are working with underrepresented minorities here in Colombia, and I'm really excited to expand knowledge and time, sharing here what I know, what I learned in these years to all the students in Sudan Tech. So thank you for the invitation. So yeah, so you can see my slides on the screen. So my title today is going to be about how to create your personal experience, and I believe the first steps to understand UI UX. UI is user interface, but before you can start designing, you need to understand the personas, and the personas are humans like you or I, trying to figure out a lot of things around the world. For example, the context of pandemic COVID that we are right now, trying to understand how this circumstance structure our path on how we behave through interface or to software or to some platforms, and in real life, of course, because the interaction is not only digital. So first, I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm a big fan of science, and I believe that the best representation of who I am, it will be my because I am a eternal apprentice. I'm a designer, consultant. I also are part of the Google Launchpad Mentor. I'm apprentice, educator, creator, and I love to share and connect through this handle, Marian Villa. So one of the things is I always have something to learn about. I'm really committed as a teacher in main universities, but one the of the places that I love to share my knowledge is in Pioneras, and I'm going to talk briefly about our work in this community. We create a small group of women in tech trying to understand the principles of web design and web development. And at that time, we just were a small group, and I like to tell the story of Milady, share the story of Milady, because she is one of my hero, and my hero is Milady because she is a typical girl from our comunas here in Medellin. Comunas is like a really poor neighborhood. It's like favelas in Brazil, and I hope you have the same. No, I hope no. I believe you could have the same in your country. Um, I hope no, because I I didn't want to people as Milady confront difficult circumstance around her life. So I believe with this story, she really teach me how one person could change their path and the future of her family through education. So if you have some time, some knowledge to share, and no matter if you are really proficient in English or in other language, try to do it. Try to do the exercise because probably you have something to share and you have always something to learn. So I believe that attitude will be to change the country, change the humanity, and change us as humans beings. So Milady start to learn with us, and she could get her first job in tech, and I was really excited about it because that I realized at the time that this small group that I was like taking as a hobby, as learning new abilities in web development as JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, uh, changed life. So right now we are 1,200 women around Colombia, my country, and we are in 8 main cities. And and I believe the credit is all of theirs, these persons, because these humans, these women take the responsibility of their future, and make some time to share knowledge, to discuss technical knowledge about technology, and yeah, and transform lives around. So yeah, this is Pioneers Dev, and this is my community, and this is one of my biggest dreams and achievements right now. So one of the thoughts that I figured out when I create Pioneras is uh, one of the things you never learn is how to apply a user experience, and I mean you are your best or most important persona. So I create this keynote or this talk, try to apply all the methodologies of UX to your life. So first, I like to clarify the definition of US. And UX is a field of design that is focused on user research and on interactive user-centered approach to creating solutions. But what if we apply the user-centered design process to ourselves, to our lives, and our careers? So that was my first hypothesis, and I believe everything is design, wherever we make time for it or not. Our smartphones, our TVs, our cars and houses, even our pets and our kids are the products. They use products of purposeful creativity. So everything is designed and think for the user. So why not our lives? So a great many of us currently in a position where we have looked at our jobs or even in our relationships and wonder, we could wonder, why have I stayed here so long, or it is really where I want or even need to be? Am I in a position where I can do something about? The simple and sometimes harsh answer is that we don't often make intentional decisions about our lives and our career lives. We're doing our work because we have time, and we use the time. We live according to the time we have. So we work for clients and bosses instead having once made the decision to accept a position or enter in a relationship. Is like inertia. So we become reactive rather than proactive or participants in our own path and in our own lives. So I believe that we need to be in touch with the choices and the opportunity that puts us there in the first place, and trying to document that, and taking a special note or of the of all the touch points that make you happy. So I believe the user research, it will, in a better future, will be centered in you as a human trying to interact and stop meaning and center in your own needs. So, and our lives and careers come less heavy, and you will be you will be fine, useless and enjoyable this user journey trip that you have, because you are using negligence in your own life. So right now I like to explain, like, this is animals. I love animals. I used to study biology, and plants will be like my passions. But I realized that that's not according to internet, one other of my passions. So what to do here? So I was like, I like to be UX designer. So in that path, I was trying to understand that UX is multidisciplinary, is around, of course, business, but is biology is the study of life. So, and we are humans. So it makes sense when you realize, like, I didn't resign to biology. I was trying to understand that as a scientist, you could be mixing humanities with science and with tech, and get the sweet spot for creating my career. That was my story. So UX is multidisciplinary, and it will be like the intersection of all the disciplines around interaction design, industrial design, human computer design, sound design, and the human factor, of course. And in the part of visual design, you have the content, the architecture, and all the information you have to put in your platforms or in your interface. So it was not different words, and at that time, I realized that user experience is principle trying to understand a human factor, and then trying to create like connections between all the interface and all the analogies we create for the communication with computers and with other um, like watch or other artifacts that we have to in our lives. So here we have like business, UI, technology, innovation, psychology, communication, architecture, social science, and why not design your life? So this theory, or this principle of design your life is not new. Actually, I based this talk in these books, and I really recommend you this literature about how to create a joyful life. And they have like a workbook where in the workbook you could do like the exercise that here Bill Burnett create for trying to understand your own persona. So everything, as I said, is designed, and you need to realize that you need to put time in how to design the life you want to live. So, like the agenda for today, it will be like first trying to attach your life in weeks, because we need to create like a diagnostic, and and get a big picture on how are you spending your time or your life. So it's a current state audit of your past. The other one will be like understanding Eisenhower charts, that is putting two variables like important versus urgent. So you have like a usability assessment for your present and your priorities. And an affinity mapping is a qualitative method for identifying and layer retrospective on your success metrics or KPIs. So the user-centered design process is about research. So the first step will be understand what is your story. So you need to look at the past. The other one will be design, and final will be test because you need to prove your hypothesis. So in the phase one research, the second phase will be design, and the third phase will be testing. And one of the cool things, and that's why it's a cycle, is because we need to repeat this constantly and understand that it's an experiment, a life experiment, and you need to obviously take notes or your thoughts and what you realize and what you learn. But also, if you have like if you feel like you fail, you need to understand that there's a lesson behind that fail. So try to document that, to write the fail, because on time, when you read your thoughts and you run your experiments and you take your notes of this lab, you understand that perhaps that fail gets a better lessons and make you able to increase, for example, some ability, or when the things you learn at the time, you have all the tools right now to take another challenge or make another bigger step in your career or your life. So it's really important trying to be very rigorous and methodic with the notes you take about the experiments you run through your life. So the first thing will be, of course, so research. So this will be like content auditing your past. And this looks crazy, but I really believe in this methodology. I apply to my life this methodology, and here we have like different colors and different dots, but as the way I like you to understand this graphic is each line, each line, each dot will be like a month. So you could do like 12 dots, and in each line you will have like 1 year. So you could do it at the beginning of your birth and try to get until you are now. Then if you want to do it more specifically, you could do like 1 dot per day. So you will have like 30 or 31 days per month, and this uh, 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 per 12 months. So you will have more accurate information or data to take decisions. And with this, you use colors to understand if you are studying. For example, I gonna use green for highlight the dots. That is the time that I use to go to university or to go to school or to high school, etc. So you will be make like a highlights of all your special milestone accomplishments or something. So here will you have like the day I graduate from school, or the day I move to my town for my town, or the day I get my first job in technology. So this graphic, this chart is really useful because you could answer those questions, those 4 questions that I share with you on the screen. That will be like, what were the big events in your life? Because you have here like your data, your personal data, explaining graphically to take or make decisions about your life. The second question you could answer with this graphic is, how have you spent your time so far? And probably when you get your personal data, you realize, for example, I have a lot of green dots, so I spend too much of my time studying. So I believe I need more time with my family or more time with my friends, or I like to change my career, so I need to create slots of time, different slots of time or priorities. So yeah, it's really really useful data. So the third question you should answer what would be like, what events can you forecast? And if you see the graphic, you realize that there are black dots, for example, because I also want you to put all your fails, epic fails, or some difficult times here, because probably you find patterns, and when you find patterns, you could connect the dots and take decisions or make conclusions about what will be like the ideal experience I like to create or improve in my life. The final question, it will be, how do you want to spend your time left? Because if you already, for example, I already spent like 35% of my no 25% of my life, sorry. So if I am going to to last I don't know how many years, but I could do a projection. So perhaps I'm sure that I spent 25% of my life, 35 actually. But when you realize that, how will be like your next step, and how do you want to spend that time, and with who and where? And we could do create like attached question to this answer. I know it's a deep understanding, and probably you never take the time to get your own data, but this is an open invitation, because when you do this exercise with your own persona, you could understand that a persona, we as personas, has had has patterns. We have patterns, so we could read the patterns, and if we have information, if we do constitutional research, we have all the knowledge that we need to make decision and smart choices, and plan and develop, design better interface, because we already know the patterns that get to that target or that group of persons, of especially that persona. Okay, now we said that the second phase is design, and I will jump to usability test. That will be the third phase, testing, because when you are making those four questions, perhaps is they are big, they are really big questions for taking into account. So you need to prioritize and try to understand what you have on the table, and try to create like a better architecture here. So this is a special framework to understand the priorities you have in your life. So this is the Eisenhower chart, and it's a mix of two variables, as I said, urgent versus important. And here you have like four boxes, and in these boxes you have like a mix between important, for example, with urgent, so do it, and serious, do it right now. And when you mix urgent versus with plus not important, you need to decide, so schedule a time for it, for think about. And when you mix not important with not urgent, delete, you could leave it aside. And when you mix, for example, important with not urgent, you could delegate, or you could create your for example, your mom, your dad, or your sisters or brothers, and you could delegate. So you could create a team with your loved ones, and trying to understand that perhaps some things you don't need it to do. You need to create like a team, and a a collaborative way to work with others. And so don't do it yourself. Try to delegate and try to um, charge this task in other ones that could help in your path. So figure out what's important to you and prioritize it with this chart. This is a really special tool, not only for you, it could also help when you are doing like user research. You will understand, putting in the shoes of another person, how this person could prioritize this task. And when you prioritize the task, you understand what is the order or important to implement, or to to bring to our Kanban canvas, the features that we are going to implement, for example, in our software. So I will ask you to try to understand these methodologies are based, are user centered, of course, in your own persona, but you could use these methodologies also for trying to understand others or trying to apply in your work, to get more insights or more data to make conscious decisions about the way we design not only our lives, interface or software. So this will be like the result of doing, putting the task on the framework, Eisenhower framework. So you will have like important task, urgent, not urgent, not important, and you could cluster those results. And when you have it, you could start to implement those tasks. Now, a reminder, our agenda, we have like the affinity map. And when you have affinity map, is you need to attach to the metrics you want to achieve. So I don't know if you are familiar with OKRs, objectives and key performance indicator. And if not, is an open invitation to Google it and learn from this methodology created in Google, and are documented. The documentation are in rework, a special place for rethinking the way we work, created by Google. So these metrics or this key performance indicator will be like our goal to trying to visualize the future that we like to have in our career, in our life, and trying to answer the final question that was, how do you spend the other percentage that you have right now in your life? So this is the affinity map, and it has like the methodology of a workshop. When you have in rows all the task, all the feelings, all the things that you want to achieve, and for example, family work balance. I will be here we have like like an example. So I will be profitable and successful, um, not so far, work with a hobby, and nurse on the company time, create new work model, etc., etc., etc. So when you put this in the Affinity Map, you create you create colors, patterns around colors, and you cluster the answers. And applying the Eisenhower framework, you already have like the important and the urgent, and you could use another methodology. I said a Kanban, a Kanban. Uh, uh, canvas, but I really suggest this one, because when you have like audit the task, you could attach the KPI, the key performance indicator, to those tasks, and try to create a mix, not only to doing list, as a project manager will do, or Scrum will apply in agile methodologies. Here is like a mix of methodologies, with those methodologies that are agile, and they are work for get things done. Uh, but I also want you to realize that all the tasks has metric had need to have a metric attached, and with those metrics you could measure, and when you measure, you could improve your performance or take better decisions, because they are quanti quantify you are quantifying, not only qualifying your task. Okay, now it's time to prototype or dive right in. And here is an open invitation to put those results, or this task, and the things you want to do, uh, improve, so make you laugh, and in real time now, please. And observe the results when you are conscious about the variables you are putting out. You could do research and iterate, I mean, design, and trying to make questions to yourself, to if I doing this in other way, or if I change this variable in because I want to go to London to study, I don't know, artificial intelligence. So I will create I would take a special workshop with TensorFlow, trying to understand all the how to create like an entity. And if I'm not doing that, I perhaps want to take I don't know, a script workshop, because I want to understand what will be like the flow the flow of the conversation that the bots will have with with persons. And it will be my first step before to go to London to study artificial intelligence. So trying to iterate, trying to make different paths, and trying to change to have like a plan A, B, C, and switch between the plans to get more data or more insights about the way you are developing through this path. Retrospected will be testing and testing and testing, and take and read the notes that you take when you are in real time living your life. But trying to read your notes, that's why it's really interesting, the exercise to get your personal diary, and get your mind down to these blank pages. Because when you read your thoughts, your past thoughts, or when you read your insights from the past, you could realize strong verbatims, strong uh, quotes, or strong feelings, or strong and meaningful information there for you to take action now in the present. So don't discharge or think it's silly to have a diary or a book of notes for you, because it's really helpful for you, not for other ones, only for you, but it will be really helpful to the person you will be in the future, and is really important for the people, the person you are here in the present. So this is like a scientific method. This is applying like the knowledge of science to human science. And it will be Charles Darwin saying, "Okay, you are doing well if you are taking notes of this seminar, because the the is not the more capable of the species to survive, is the person. I would change the phrase of Darwin, is the person who understand how to adapt to difficult times, for example, and trying to get the best of yourself in not certain circumstances. And I know it will be like, right now we know that anything could happen in any time. So we need to be prepared. And the way we are prepared is creating the better experience for others, but also for ourselves. So the right quote would be, "It's not the strongest that survives, but the species that survive is the one that is able best to adapt." So we need to get all the data visible, get our own graphics, and assume those methodologies for ourselves, and put these methodologies on practice, not only in our life, also in the projects we assume in our professional life. So the invitation is schedule a kickoff and set a deadline. You got a new project, and this special project to apply UX, because you are creating experience in user center using user center design, is you are the most important project. So hurry up and try to apply these methodologies in your own life. Thank you. And for get like the questions and the special intervention of Sudan Tech, the group and the team of Sudan Tech. Now I want you to search these other tools. For example, I really recommend Basics of UX by Mustafa Kursuldu, top 10 ways to use G Suite for UX design, because I believe we need to master some tools, and G Suite for the opportunity to have like a collaborative space and live interaction on the cloud information. So I believe it is really useful. Uh, Read about Design Sprint, because Design Sprint is a methodology created for Google Ventures for create startups or spin-offs in 1 week. But when you apply design sprints to your life, to your experiments, is really useful. So I really recommend you to research about design sprints by Google. Shape the future of Google is a user experience research. They had and these URLs are mostly created by Google, and I would recommend it because they have like a really huge center of research center of user experience and human behavior to create, for example, all the training models for machine learning, and and create like a more accurate way to use technology. For example, their um, biggest project and the beginning project that is our Google search. So I really think that they have a lot of documentation about how to apply and how to understand like UX methodologies, and I believe it's a good place to consult and to get information if you feel that this field will be or make sense to apply those methodologies to your life or to your projects, or you want to pursue a job in the UI UX field. So thank you for connecting with me from here, from Colombia. And oh, thank you, Red. I was reading already the comments, and thank you to see it in India. So cool.
Thank you so
So
much, ma'am. Well, we
thank
have a
you.
couple of questions from the users, sorry, viewers. So the first one is, does one need to learn any programming languages to pursue career in this field?
Yes, I believe the question will be yes, and it's not because I mean you could be a designer, and you could be, I don't know, uh, uh, here is the name is you create illustrations, for example, and you love like offline support of your art or you design. But when you are thinking in creating like interface, or you are thinking in create like a beautiful experience through technology, you need to understand the language that are based the technology. So minimum you need to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and trying to create like is I mean, I'm not a front end, a full front end uh, in charge, or all the task, or the all the things that um, the industry will be expected for a front end. But when you are a UI UX, you minimum need to deliver the best way, and package all the code and all the designs in a very accurate way to create the synergy with the front end stage. So it is the the um, the more common sweep that your career could do if you want to go to more technical career will be front end. But you could also improve, for example, your abilities in JavaScript, and trying to understand how those designs works in code, and also connect with the database, and go on. You could go on.
Yeah. So, Red Spy wants to know whether we need to learn data structures for UI/UX.
Huh. Yes, I believe yes. Data science is had a. I mean, all when you are studying data science, you understand that everything is data. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about it is data, and I believe that when you have a UX profile, and you understand that humans are behind UX, and we are complex, we are really complex subjects of study. So you realize that you need the humanities, and you need to put all these variables, because they are really difficult to fix, because they or to attach, because the human we are really complex, and we could develop ourselves depends of the context and depends of the culture, and we have different human variables that are really difficult to understand and to study separately. So when you are in the UX or CX right now, like customer experience, you realize that you need data, so you need to create like patterns and trying to create like a lot of amount of data to search those patterns, to be more accurate in the way you abort the project and create better designs or better interface.
Okay, thank you. So, is it good money to in the UX UI design?
Yes, and I believe one of the things is we need digital humanities. I believe it will be the future, and it will be the future because we need technologies, but we also need people to understand human nature, or not to understand, but passion about study human nature, and try to get like the yeah, try to get more data and more papers and academic research about how we make decisions, how we make connections, how we create like not only chemistry or physical connections or use of our brain, also how to expand that our brain, or I don't know, how to answer difficult questions that are not resolved right now, but will be like the future of the interface, and will be like the future of humanity. So yeah, user user experience is a huge field, and you could find, I believe, a lot of open positions right now, and it will be increasing on time.
So, Red Spy wants to know how to choose a suitable color palette or themes for a project.
Okay, there is I love a book like is a psychologist of colors, but I also recommend Coolers. Coolers is like cool plus colors, so mix those words, and you could Google it, and you could find a really cool tool to mix and fix the colors. I believe like theory of color is really interesting, and it will be like an open invitation to trying to read a lot of colors and trying to understand how they are positives of editing, or how to increase like contrast, or I mean, it depends. For example, accessibility is other really cool field to understand, and you could um, choose that path for your career when you are in the UX field. You could switch to easily to accessibility, and in accessibility, you realize that not only colors matters when you are trying to create like a suitable themes or colorful for your project, audio, voice, and other sense involved in interface.
Okay, how does one improve the user interface design?
Okay, so uh, could you repeat, please, the question? I will be.
Okay, how does one improve the user interface design?
Huh. Listen the listen your user. You could create like workshops, or you could create like interviews. You could use different explorative methodologies or social methodologies to get data from your user, and you never forget that. I mean, there are different codes. For example, one is 1/4 that for said that if I was hearing the user, I will be putting more horses and not invented the car. But you have Selfridges, and Selfridges says they use the not the user, the client always get what he wants, or yeah, need to get what he wants, and always have the reason. But I believe we need to create like an intermediate point when you get like you listened your users, and you're trying to get the insights, and with your knowledge you are trying to redefine or redirect or uh, mix these insights with your knowledge, trying to get the best experience and the best interface you could provide. But you need to listen, because the design is not a solo exercise. You need to involve others, and that's why you need to increase your social abilities.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I guess we're done with all the questions. So I think we'll be ending the session now. So thank you so much, Ma'am, for being here today and sharing your valuable knowledge with us in a very fun and effective way. I'm sure all the queries that you have answered have brought them one step closer to know more on the topic of user interface and user experience. I would also like to thank all the audience for being super interactive and supportive. If you have liked this workshop, please share your feedback with us. And to be notified about upcoming webinars just like this, follow us on our media handles and join our Discord community. All links are given in the description box. Thank you so much and have a good evening ahead.
Thank you, Anania. I like to say, sorry, my brain switched to Spanish immediately. I like to say thank you to all your team. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I really enjoyed this space. Thank you.
We had a great time having you here.